All right, NC State wrestling fans, we are back with the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. This is episode 124. Preseason is in full swing. That means we're getting closer to the start of the season. I'm joined by always head coach of the NC State wrestling team, Pat Popolizio. Pat, I'm fired up. This is my first time on the podcast doing it as a co-host and not as a guest. So I'm excited. How we doing?
It's going good. You do have a lot of pressure on you right now between Brian's carrying the torch and then Hayden coming in here. I think you Hidlays are really good at this kind of stuff. You're always good made for the radio.
Well, it's interesting. I've spent a ton of time doing interviews and being the guy asked questions. So this is a new challenge for me. I know Hayden is kind of known, I think, as the brother that's a little more well-spoken. He's a little more stoic at things like this. So I'm stepping outside my comfort zone a little bit, but I'm excited for it. I mean, I could talk NC State wrestling all day long. To start out, I wanted to, before we get into NC State wrestling, we had a couple of guys, myself included, at the World Team Trials this past week in Omaha. It was a great tournament. I really enjoyed Omaha. I got second I lost in the challenge finals. I got third overall. We had Jackson Arrington. He went 3-2. He had some great wins. He looked awesome. Wins over Jacob Bergerlin, who was an All-American at Minnesota, and Jarrett Jacques, who's been on fire on the freestyle circuit. He got fourth at the Olympic trials this year. Ryan Jack got some great experience. He wrestled Jordan Oliver and Yaya Thomas, who was a previous All-American. And we also had two alumni. Mike Machiavello was in my weight class as well. He got third place in the challenge tournament. And Hunter Lewis was actually our lone Greco guy who got fourth and had some good wins as well. What were some of your takeaways, I guess, from World Team Trials? I know you're always watching wrestling, so I know you had it up.
We had it up. Coach Zach and I were watching. We had a busy weekend with some recruiting, but I was even at the football game. We were watching the matches at the stadium, even though the internet was going in and out. No, I thought overall our guys looked pretty good. Obviously Ryan Jack was wrestling at a weight class that probably wasn't a natural fit for him. So little disadvantage there. But again, the goal with Jackson and Ryan was to get some valuable experience. And then obviously watching you compete, thought we made some really good strides. And you can see the work that you've been putting in is definitely paying off. And bringing in Coach Kelly and Coach Esposito on the freestyle side of things, I think is really paying dividends right now for the guys that are really serious and committed to growing their freestyle career. So, everyone's work is definitely is noticed, and I think it's setting us up for the season right now. Typically, this is the off season for freestyle, so we know the things we're going to work on and implement it. We had a good meeting yesterday of the minds and kind of map some stuff out. Obviously, we'll meet later today and go over that stuff. But I think we got a really good plan and a lot of good support with the freestyle. And as always, the RTC's had a good history of showing out and producing at the world level. So we look forward to continuing doing that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think having Jamil Kelly as the RTC coach has been really big. And when I was a freshman here with the RTC guys we hear, I think that was probably the biggest benefit in my career is being able to be around those guys. And you're seeing guys like Isaac's obviously had a lot of experience with freestyle, but now Ryan and Jackson kind of throwing their hat into the ring. It's just really valuable experience for those guys to compete against. I mean, Jackson wrestled James Green, who just made the team, and Ryan against Jordan Oliver, who's a national champion, made the Olympic team in 2021. So it's really invaluable experience for those guys, and I think there's a lot to take away from that. You mentioned we've been pretty busy with recruiting. Well, you guys have been pretty busy with recruiting. What does this time of the year look like? I know you guys are doing a lot of official visits, and what does recruiting look like now in 2024 for you guys?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the go time for recruiting and then having the official visits. Process starts June 15th, and then technically the first day school starts is when we host recruits. So I think we've had a good number of official visits so far and a lot of really good quality athletes that have been through. And, official signing date doesn't happen until November of their senior year. So, we technically can't really comment on who's committed, but I do like the type of kids that are attracted to NC State right now, and I think it's going to mirror well with all the hard work and the culture that's been created. I think these guys fit, and people like yourself and all the other greats that have came through here have kind of laid the blueprints down now for the type of athletes that we're looking for. And I think it's well known for kids that are attracted to NC State, what they're signing up for. And we're going to continue to build on the past history.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's been kind of funny since I would have been recruited in 2017, 2018. And, back then you were lucky if you kind of got like a cool little graphic edit by someone outside of the team. And now I feel like there's so much more involved with social media that it's pretty cool that the kids kind of, you really get to get treated like a superstar. But at the same time, I think a lot of it remains the same. And especially with the way you guys are running the program, like you want to continue to hold the standard for bringing in the right people. And I think the more things change, the more things stay the same in the end by, keeping it simple, getting the best guys that you can that fit the program, and to keep, like you said, following the blueprint that's been set out. You said it's a very busy time of the year. You got recruiting. You guys just started preseason a couple of weeks ago. I guess just talk a little bit about preseason this year, what it looks like, what you're seeing from the guys in the room, and I guess just the overarching goal of what preseason's meant to be as you go into this season.
Yeah, preseason kind of, I think, runs parallel to our summer training that we just ended in early August. And, you get the freshmen here who probably most of them come in a little bit behind as far as conditioning goes, just because of the intensity and, what we're used to at the college level. And we get a couple weeks to kind of build a base with these guys. They go home, they regroup, and then we hit the ground running right after Labor Day. And we have a really good plan in place. It's about a 6-week training cycle. We're allowed 8 hours as a team when it comes to the conditioning and strength and conditioning type stuff. So Coach Craven's done a phenomenal job with our weightlifting. And then we follow it up with a little bit of conditioning 3 days a week, constantly evolving on what we're trying to do with our preseason. But at the end of the day, it's a really important time of the year to build foundation with the conditioning. And there's a lot of aspects that you hit with preseason. One of them obviously is the conditioning. You got the technical side of things when guys are coming in the room working on different positions. But I think most importantly is the mental aspect that the preseason brings. As you know, you build a lot of mental toughness and grit in your training with preseason. And that, I think when you look at NC State wrestling, I think that's been a good staple for us and the foundation that we've built. We have a team that when you go out and compete, you're going to get 7 minutes of really good high intensity, and that's setting the tone. And it's important for, the returners and guys that are upperclassmen kind of show the new guys what it takes to train and how to be consistent and how do you recover in between the training, and all this at the end kind of maps out what we're looking for when it comes February and March leading up to the NCAAs. You gotta have really good training, but you also have to have the body recovered so you can get the next best workout in. And that's kind of where this preseason's setting up. And yeah, we got to make weight classes. So we're also slowly, little by little, in a healthy way, getting guys down to their fighting weight. And that's some guys are better at it than others, but we're no more crustables at this time of the year, as you know, Trent. Those are my favorite.
Man, I gotta admit, I've definitely ventured into the Uncrustables, but every time you bring them up, I have to second guess going to get one.
Yeah.
But no, you
might as well eat a Snickers bar instead.
Yeah, that's an all-time Pat comparison. If you're gonna eat an Uncrustable, you might as well eat a candy bar. It's got the same nutritional value. Which honestly, you think it's crazy until you look at it and you're like, man, he actually might know what he's talking about. But no, you hit the nail on the head with, you said it. The preseason sets the tone for the season. I was lucky enough to have 6 preseasons. My last year was definitely toned down, but I mean, some of my best memories with guys on the team is going through that training and, it's just as much as team camaraderie, working on how do you build relationships with guys on the teams? How do you lead guys to go through workouts that you're also in that are grueling and they're hard? But at the same time, it's building confidence in your conditioning and your training going into the year. It was when I was putting together this plan, I want to talk about preseason. I wanted to share one of my favorite preseason memories. So my freshman year, which I still have nightmares from freshman year. I'd walk into.
I think everyone has a little bit of that sports anxiety of the training on the track. So
yeah, you got to go away. Well, you got to be careful what you eat for breakfast because you feel like you're going to throw up going into the lift. Like, man, I don't know. We could do anywhere from. Could be a hard day. It could be brutal. It could be 100 degrees out. I could pass out. You never know what's going to happen when you're a freshman. But it was a long preseason. I think we did 6 weeks or so. And we got to the stadium workout at Carter Finley. You're there at 6 a.m. You lift, and we're lifting heavy by the end of preseason. You do your hand fighting, you get your partner lifts in, and then you go to the stadium. And typically, as the preseason went on, we build up more time. I think we started at like 15 minutes running up and down, and then a buddy carry. And by the end of it, you're able to run 30 minutes straight up and down with multiple buddy carries. And I'll never forget this. We were going into the last workout, and you were like, well, I got a little bit of a surprise for you. We're not going to run any of the stadiums today. It's just going to be buddy carries. And you got 6 total of them with your partner. And this could take you 20 minutes or it could take you 2 hours. You get to pick how quickly you go. And I was looking over at Hayden. I was like, dude, 6 buddy carries is a lot. 20 minutes is like sprinting barely without anybody on you. So we get into it. I'm with Jake Cook, who was my roommate, one of my best friends. And, we get through like buddy carry 3. We're looking around like we're going to be here for a while. And eventually we got 6 in. I think the last one we were really, really having to motivate each other as you're going up. But yeah, that was a great workout. I think we had to do live when we got back in the room. I'm pretty sure Nick Reenan held me on my back for like an hour that day.
Might have been because the legs were shot, and Reenan was pretty good with the headlock. So
yeah. Well, no, it's it's funny, but it's like those were some pivotal training sessions in my day, and I think there's, like I said, there's a lot to gain from preseason training. Not only are you getting your body in shape, but the mental aspect of it as well. If you can go through those practices and conditioning workouts and really thrive, you build yourself up mentally to be able to kind of go through anything. So. You got any favorite memories?
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm big on
those first couple of years. You hear war stories. I'm surprised people even made it out alive.
Well, and don't let those guys fool you. They always say the workouts were tougher back then, but the reality is they're very similar and well calculated. So every time I hear Tommy or Kevin say they had it way worse, I just know it's nonsense coming out of them.
Well, I'll tell you, it is funny. Every year that I get done doing preseason, I catch myself saying, every year the laps go up by 2. Oh, we didn't do anything less than 18 laps, and next year I'm sure somehow we had been doing 20 laps.
Yeah, no, it keeps going on. But no, I think the mental aspect is what I like the most, and how do you challenge guys mentally. And I think we talked about this the other day, where one of our teammates, I won't name names or throw them under the bus, but they got on social media and thought we had finished our last preseason workout. And so it kind of got under my skin a little bit, like, what, are we afraid to train and do the hard things here? And so they posted a picture on social media, like, and a bunch of them together, like, yeah, final preseason of my career. And little did they know that I was reading that and trying to think of what can get under their skin and mentally challenge them. So we added an extra day that weekend to our preseason, and we did a really good, nice workout on the track. And I think since then, guys stopped posting that preseason's over. And
yeah, you can imagine how I felt. You can imagine how I felt as an 18-year-old kid. You think you're done. You're about to get the gear package. You just worked really, really hard, and all of a sudden, you're going home for the first break, and Pat says, we're actually going to meet out in the track, and you're like, you have got to be kidding me. But no, it's.
Yeah, so I think, needless to say, we stopped celebrating the end of preseason.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing of it too, I touched on a little bit. I think it's a good opportunity for people to step into a bit of a leadership role, because everyone's going through these workouts together. You're in a pretty strict schedule with school and with practice, you're covering a lot of technique. It's easy to get caught up into the monotony of it, but there also, like I said, there's the opportunity for people to emerge as leaders. And it brings me to the next point. I feel like we're entering a little bit of a new era of NC State wrestling. We're in kind of the last season of guys that are getting extra years with COVID. I had just finished up my 6th year, and, there's a lot of new and young guys coming into the lineup that may get a chance to show what their talents are. And it just seems like for the first time we have maybe a little bit of like uncertainty of what the lineup looks like, which is a really good thing. It's a great opportunity for people to step up and carry the torch of what NC State wrestling has become. Just interested in hearing what your thoughts are on this new group coming in, and just what the next couple of years looks like for NC State wrestling.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. We are obviously, we lose great leaders every year. You can go up and down and look at the history of our program, and people like yourself graduate, people like Hayden, Gwiz, there's been so many great guys, Kevin, Tommy, everyone moves on and their careers come to an end. But I think what has made us, fortunate is we've always had great mentors and great leaders. So these guys that have been here, like Ed Scott, Camacho, Isaac, Fields now is growing into that role as well, where and Ryan Jack, they've been around you guys, and they've been around greatness and firsthand understand and see what it takes to elevate this program. And now it's time for them. Sometimes when the leader moves on, it gives a great opportunity for someone to step up and really be the new voice behind the scenes. And I think that's critical for this year. We've obviously you're moving on, you've graduated, and it's time for new people to step up and voice their leadership. And I think we have a great group of guys right now that are returning, that have to bring up the younger generation. And we're seeing those guys respond very well. Everything's in a positive manner. But, freshmen are going through a lot. They're away from home for the first time. They're in a very good environment in our wrestling room, which makes it challenging at times. And then you throw in the school and then the hard training. You can slowly lose young athletes with that. But the returners have been through it and realize there's light at the end of the tunnel. And they've been stepping up and kind of, we always talk about it here. You want to pick someone up and grab them and not pull them down. And that's what I think our guys have done a great job, is grab them by the hand and let's pull them up and pull them along. And I've seen some of these freshmen really working their tail off right now, and they're going to make a lot of ground when we need them. And if they're in our lineup this year, I feel really good that, through the workouts and the leadership we have, we're going to get a lot of good success out of the young guys right now. So it's an important time for us. We know we're going to have some new faces. We're going to move our lineup around a little bit and put some new names in the lineup, but I expectations remain the same, and the style of wrestling will remain the same. Obviously, some technical things we're working on could elevate us, but yeah, it's going to be a little different year. But I look at who's in our room, and we have a lot of talent that's in the room, and we just got to keep spreading it out and keep getting guys better. And I think that's going to be what this year is about, is going to be growth with some new names, but some very familiar athletes. And I like the fact that, and maybe we break it down a little bit later, but, you got guys like Maddie Singleton and Isaac Trumbull who are coming off red shirt that are going to be a major impact in this year's success. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah. No, and you said, I think, as we get closer to the season, obviously we'll discuss, possibly lineups and even scheduling stuff when that eventually comes out. I know we typically have to wait for the university to figure out basketball schedules and stuff. So believe me, everybody that asked me about the schedule, Pat is not withholding it. We're working on that, and that'll get it.
Yeah, we're hoping that here in the next week or so we'll have it released, but we'll have obviously a very competitive schedule, and it won't be a lack of competition getting our guys ready. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll get into lineup stuff. I do have a new fun segment for the podcast. I hinted it to you a little bit A little bit of NC State wrestling trivia before we get you out of here. And what this is going to be is I'm going to give you a couple of hints from a wrestler that was under your tenure and tutelage here. Since when did you start? 2012 was your first year?
I think so, yeah. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Going on year 13 here. So
you got there's a lot of wrestlers you've coached, a lot of people you've impacted. I wanted to have a fun little segment. So the first one, are you ready? I got 4 hints for you. And
let me get my internet hooked up here.
Yeah, get your internet, but you gotta see if you can get it without looking it up first. All right. So first hint, he was a New York native. All right. Second hint, he was a 5th-year senior, so he did all 5 years. Third hint, he has a win in the legendary Oklahoma State dual meet in Stillwater. And the 4th hint is he majored in paper science engineering.
That's Sam Malikian.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw him not too long ago.
Yes.
Paper science obviously gave it away, but yeah, Sam was a warrior for NC State. The funny story with Sam, we were wrestling UNC at home the one year, and we had just done a killer workout for the guys who were not wrestling. And we're like an hour before weigh-in, and one of the starters comes and is like, hey, I'm having, whether it was asthma, something just set him back where he was not going to be able to compete. And thank God we were at home. Sam was a 57-pounder. And when I say a tough workout, they lifted in the morning, did like heavy leg squats and crushed it in the weight room. We did like a 2-hour live conditioning sprints at the end. He's in the shower, and I'll call up here and I'm like, hey, get Sam down here. We're going to need him to weigh in and go up a weight class. And he's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm being dead serious. We need you to wrestle tonight. He's like, oh, all right. I just went for, this is to be my 3rd workout on the day. I'm like, I get it. He went up a weight class and actually got the win on the night with a huge fight. He hit a huge cement mixer to kind of go up big and held on, but got the win at home up a weight class. So that's Sam Malikian for you.
Yeah, talk about a team player in a nutshell. I mean, Sam was awesome. He was a senior my freshman year, a great mentor for me, and that he had a nasty cement mixer. That was he definitely had me on my back a couple of times my first few weeks. So no, that was great. I think you got that in like 2 seconds. So I'll have to increase the difficulty a little bit. All right. I had a feeling the paper science engineering would be
paper science killed it.
No, it's great.
All right, you got another one? What are we doing?
We'll stick with one today. I'll bring some more heat the next time.
I like it.
But yeah, so last thing I have for you, Pat, we got the golf outing coming up. 7th annual Golfing with Wolves event, September 27th. It's going to be at Wildwood Greens Golf Club in Raleigh. Talk a little bit about what that event's going to be like. It's going to be, I mean, the people that have been there before, it's such an awesome day. You get to interact with the coaches and guys on the team. You get to play at an awesome course, and also that the money's going to the RTC and to the team. So a lot of great things in the works with that.
Yeah, golf outing is always a great. To me, it's like an alumni reunion. We get a ton of former athletes coming back here. We get to mix it in with some new people who are wanting to be around our guys, support our guys, and people like you to continue to go out on the mission that we set out to do. And that funds a lot of what we do in the off season. So having people support it, whether it's there in person or, whether they want to sponsor a hole or be an event sponsor, all of it goes directly to support our athletes and our off season training. It is current roster guys. It's people like you that have graduated, but it all goes to help NC State Wrestling RTC. So it's going to be a great event. We do have some star power coming in this year. I think some former national champs, All-Americans will be there. And parlay it into the next day. We have a football game on that Saturday. So it will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Everyone can go back home, be ready for work on a Monday. But I think it'll be a great weekend for people to reconnect and also continue to support our program. Yeah,
no, it's going to be an awesome weekend. I always look forward to that. And this year, I gotta get my clubs ready. I haven't played in a while. Everyone always asks if you're going to be playing. I said I don't know. He's Pat's got to get a step.
My short game is I'll say I'm par. How's that? That's
good.
The long game, not so good. I think I could throw a golf ball farther than I can hit it.
Yeah, you and me both. No, it'll be a great event, and like you said, sponsorship opportunities are open as well. If you're interested, obviously reach out. It's going to be a great alumni event. It's always fun to see. For me, see people that wrestled, maybe 20, 30 years ago and connect with them, but then also start to connect with some of the guys that I was here with. So really looking forward to that. Pat, that's all I got for you. We got Kai coming on here in a second. One of the questions we got on Twitter was if you could get a tattoo if you had to get a tattoo by Kai, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. I would let Kai do the tattoo. I've seen some of his work. It's actually really good. As long as I know that he's keeping everything clean, because I see what his locker looks like. So I would question some of that, but I would have to do something with a wolf, I guess. You got to tie the NC State brand into it, but it would have to be something creative with a wolf, and then trying to implement the history over the last 13 years into a tattoo could be a good one.
Well,
if maybe we could set something up. Nick and Bill and all them always give me some stuff about a tattoo. I do like the art of tattoo, so one day, but it would have to be off of a goal that Kai accomplished this year. Maybe we can come up with something, like if he does something at the NCAA tournament so high, we'll get that tattoo. But I got to think a little more into it. It's got to be motivating on both sides.
Maybe for the home opener, you'll show up with a wolf on your neck. We'll see.
Right behind my ear. That's perfect.
Well, no, awesome, Pat. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy. Great talking NC State wrestling with you. And as you get off, we're going to bring Kai Orine on.
All right. Nice work.
All right. We're back at the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Joined now by everyone's favorite redshirt senior, two-time All-American, and two-time ACC champion, Kai Orine. Kai, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going really, really good.
Yeah. Well, we just had Pat on. He's talking about your hair and the mullet. Show the mullet off a little bit.
Oh yeah, got a good little wag in the front. Turn around, got a little wag in the back. Got my hat on right now because it was a little wild. It needs groomed, so I need to do that. But being lazy lately, but need to groom it.
Well, we can always count on you for something new and exciting. I need my haircut as well. I was talking to you the other day. We got to get on schedule. I got to get this thing trimmed up. My girlfriend's starting to I know whenever she tells me I need a haircut, it's gotten out of control. So I might have to bring clippers in again.
Lance, keeping you honest.
Yeah. So it's funny. I said we just had Pat on. One of the questions we had on Twitter is if you could get a tattoo by Kai, what would it be? And he said if he had to, it'd probably be something with a wolf or something with the last 13 years. And I said, well, if we show up to the first duel in November and he's got a wolf on his neck, then we'll be in pretty good shape for the season.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet.
If I had to get,
so I have a feeling Pat wouldn't sit very well for tattoos, though. I don't know. Some people just don't sit very well, and I feel like he'd be one of those.
If I had to get one, I would honestly probably do something with a wolf, or probably something with Born to Win involved in it on like my leg or something. I don't know. I've never gotten a tattoo, so I don't know.
I think you should get Born to Win right there on your ankle where you get it on your shoe every time.
Yeah, well, they at the Olympic trials this year, you're not allowed to have any like political statements or anything on you, and they thought that's what it was. So they told me I couldn't put it on my tape, but I was like, this is just a saying. I was like, if I had to put it on my leg, I will, I guess, with marker. But no, it's cool. Have you given any tattoos recently?
Not really. I think the last one actually was Jacob Cox who got one. He got a cross with it for his grandpa that passed away on his chest. But I think that was the last one I did. I need to get back on it. I've just been lazy. I think I've been lazy, and then I started masters, and now I'm writing like 2 or 3 pages a week, and I've never had to do that ever before in my life. So I was like, it's just busy. I'm a lot more busy with like schoolwork and stuff now, and plus like the routine of the preseason training and everything kind of keeps me busy. So a little lazy, but. Talk about that a little bit. I need to do it.
Talk about going into your 6th year a little bit. I did a 6th year. You're going into your 6th and final year eligibility. To talk a little bit about, I guess, what's different about this year. What did your summer look like that might have been different? And obviously you're in preseason now, and what that looks like for you.
Yeah. I think it's the most different year I've had so far, just because I've kind of gone through everything there is to go through now. So it's like there's little more for, I mean, not necessarily a little more for me to find out, but like little more to surprise me at this point anymore. And I'm very comfortable with like where I've matured into and kind of like my position now. I'm very comfortable and honest with my position, but I also get to kind of take on a little bit of a different role now with my brother being here and being in this kind of this, like once in a lifetime kind of position, and this year being so different now. But as far as just for myself and kind of where I'm at on this, like I said, like I've been around long enough to where I'm very comfortable with myself and like kind of honest with myself on where I am. And this year is kind of just going to be more about just doing the most right things again, like doing like I mean, I always try to do the most right things I can, but like doing the most is just kind of get the most out of my final year. I think is where I'm at right now, and just trying to make the most out of like my wrestling, I guess, is just try to get the most wrestling out of like all the wrestling I can left out of me that I can for my college career, really, is just to get as much out as I can now. But the role is like with my brother being here now too, there's a little bit different because now I kind of get to see him. I get to see him kind of start his career as I end mine, and I get to kind of make that transition, which is really cool because this is something that wasn't supposed to happen. Usually you don't usually go 6 years like we were able to, and just because of I like to say like the stars aligned to allow me and my younger brother to be able to wrestle that 1 year, and how special it is to be able to to wrestle on the team with your brother. So it was this is definitely like me being the older brother. Like I definitely take like a lot of like pride and inspiration with that. So.
Yeah, no, it is a really special thing, and you don't realize it until you get to experience it. Like doing college wrestling, going through everything with your brother is like one of the coolest things ever. And that's really cool. You guys get to do that. You talked about a little bit of taking on a leadership role, not just with him, but as a team as well. What does that mean for you? You've been here forever. Everybody on the team. You know what the standard of the program is. How are you stepping into that leadership role? And how has that made you better?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely made it hard to kind of follow. I think your role as leader was one that I think I don't know if anybody will ever be able to match. But like you said, I've been around almost just about as long as you have now, and with that, I think there's that I know how things are going to operate. I know what's kind of going to be able to move guys and what gets them there. But as I get to kind of move into this a little bit more position, as you've kind of stepped down from it, we have to fill that role that you did, and you kind of took that on, very, very. You took kind of like the sole leader position in, and I think we can't go a year without having that force and that driving force with it. So I think it's myself and other people taking that position to kind of follow that hole, but also, I mean, not like you went anywhere, but as far as like guys on the team being there to kind of motivate, like in team, somebody has to kind of make that moves, and I try to do my best, and be able to motivate as I go and just kind of give my insight on things. I wouldn't say our leadership styles are exactly the same. I'm probably a little bit more laid back and maybe a little less intense, but I try to keep things lighthearted, fun, but also be able to get guys, pick them up when they're down and kind of just bring everyone together also. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really important. And the thing with leadership, especially on a team, is everyone responds differently, right? There's so many different types of personalities, and some people respond really well to one thing, and some people do the other. And that's the thing that you start to learn as you're here for 6 years, is that there's different ways to motivate guys. There's different ways to get the most out of guys. And I think you just have such a great presence because you are someone that remains you're very authentic, and I think that's such a big thing for people to see. Whether it's the way you compete, the way you train, the way that you do your artwork, it's very you're always you, and it's like that's really cool for people to see and guys on the team to see as well. And talking about Dragan a little bit, for those that are listening in, Kai's younger brother Dragan is a freshman this year. Talk a little bit about I guess how you guys are similar and the ways that you're different. So I think there's a lot, but at the same time, it's like when I see him walk in, I'm like, oh, here we go. We got another Kai on the team, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think we're similar in the sense that I think we're our authentic selves, like you said. Like when we walk into the room, it's just like, oh, there's Kai. Now it's like, oh, there's Drake, and he's just being himself like he always is. We are very different, though. Obviously, I think he's not like the artist type like I am or anything like that. I think we have, different interests as far as like maybe career goals or just like hobby goals and stuff like that. But I mean, in the same sense, we're from the same family, same values, and same just more so. I wouldn't say personality, but more that trait of just being our authentic selves again. And it's really cool to see him, kind of take off, and because since he's gotten here, I feel like he's only skyrocketed in his training and his wrestling and everything like that. And he's actually starting to make me look bad, which is not good, because the coaches are going to start thinking that I'm undertraining, and it's not that. It's just that Dragon is just a little bit of a different breed as far as a workhorse. I feel like I can't remember a time I was ever able to do some of the things that he's already doing now. So I mean, if he just stays on the path he's going, he's going to blow right past me. I feel like he already is, and yeah, he's a freak. I don't know. He's done a lot of things in the past, and I just sat there, scratched my head, and kind of thought, man, you freaking asshole. Why the hell do you make me look bad?
Yeah, he is. You said he's a workhorse for sure. We were on the track. I guess 2 weeks ago, I was able to be out there, and he was winning almost every sprint. And it's like it wasn't something that looked like it was that natural. He was just really grinding away. And I said on the stadium as well, like he'll get up there and he'll just grind through it, and he'll just go. And it's, if you can work like that at this level, really good things are going to happen. And my brother Hayden was in an interview the other day, and he kind of talked a little bit about that. We have a similar experience, but we're also different, because I was the younger brother. You're the older brother, and it's almost, when you're the younger brother coming up through, it's really easy to it's easy to see what you have to do. You got your brother there. They've had success. I kind of got to follow what they do, and you have an idea what the workouts are. And on your side, and what Hayden had said is like, I got my young brother coming up through. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of big goals for himself, and that motivated him to see how I was training. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like to be able to learn from your younger brother is a really cool experience, because the younger brother is always learning from the older one. And you guys both get to have that feeling as this year unfolds.
Yeah, I definitely can relate. I definitely get to see him come in and just honestly work a lot more than I was my freshman year. And it's like, man, you're making me look bad. So it's like, all right, well now I'm going to be here to kind of tell you like how things are going to go. I'm going to be here to help you however you need. But now you're kind of pushing me forward as well as you're coming up too. I'm the older brother, so I feel like I kind of need to stay ahead to keep you ahead. But you're kind of catching me really quick. So, but yeah, I definitely can relate in the fact that he's already kind of pushing me, just because I don't want to fall behind, just because he's catching up way quicker than I thought he was going to. But yeah, all my brothers, they've always inspired me to do great things and do everything that I can. But now that he's here, he's just really, really inspiring and just pushing me in person now too, which is really helpful. Should have been here a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So a little bit of a different feel for NC State this year. I talked a little bit about, you stepping into that leadership role, a lot of new guys, your brother coming in. I guess what about this year besides that stuff excites you? Zach Esposito is the new associate head coach. You have Jameel Kelly as the RTC coach. New coaches in the room a little bit. And it's really hard to replace Adam Hall. He was awesome. And just having Esposito in there and Jameel, I think, brings in a little bit of a different type of coaching style. What have you seen just being able to work with him, and how you think that'll impact the team this year?
I think it's already starting to show. I think even just personally, it's starting to show a little bit in kind of how I approach my wrestling, and how some things where I had some shortcomings, but it's a fresh new look. It's a fresh new face. I mean, we could always. I think you can relate that we can always train our asses and train our asses off and hard all the time. We can always put every ounce of training and every ounce of effort into our training. But I think once we kind of just keep just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over, it's not maybe it starts to maybe not be as valuable, or we don't see as many big jumps. But having a lot of new fresh faces around, guys that have having Jameel in the room, who's somebody that we've actually competed against in the past, but now he's on our side. It's just a lot of good. It's a lot of new good looks. A lot of new good perspectives, skills, and then just new training scenarios as well too. So I like new things. I like change. I like having new perspectives and all that kind of stuff. So I'm always open to kind of get take in new ideas from new people, and to have the new perspective is really nice. I do miss Adam a lot. His intensity in the room and just his demeanor is always something that you can't really match or replace. But yeah, it's always a new situations, new environments. Really it does feel like a new environment almost. And yeah, I always take in change. I feel like change is always the best place, or an unfamiliar place is always the best best scenario to really grow and expand. So I feel like it's been good. It's been really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had a little bit of a different summer this year. You spent some time in Prague, correct? Talk a little bit about that experience. What you took away from it outside of, we know what you're like on the wrestling mat. We do wrestling wise, but fill the people in on what that experience was like and what you took away from it.
Yeah, that was the most different thing I've ever done in my entire life. That was like the first time I've really been out of the country. First time I hadn't really wrestled like consistently either. Like in my whole actually besides COVID, I wasn't wrestling very much during COVID either. But yeah, I had to go over there for school. It was the last thing I had to do to like actually complete my degree. In the design school, you have to have the study abroad experience to like actually graduate. And that was the last thing I was going to do. I knew it was going to be the last thing just because I looked at it and it was like, there's no way I'm going to get like a summer off in the middle of like really training and competing and like go to a different country for 6 weeks. So, but yeah, I went over there. I had a really good time. I met a lot of different people, hung out with people that I never probably would have really talked to on like a normal basis. We kind of get stuck in our own little wrestling ecosystem, but I got to be around different people of different backgrounds, made a couple different friends from just different areas, and it was such a different experience. But I wouldn't say it was like a life-changing experience. It was so different from like the normal routine of daily life here, and it was something that I was like, it really was just a 6-week vacation for me because my class wasn't too difficult. It was just a drawing class, so it was really just going and refining my drawing skills, but like it was a really nice mental break, but it also showed me like how like where my threshold is for like really when I need to be locked in again. Because after 6 weeks, I was like, man, I don't really want to leave. I want to stay. I'm having so much fun. I'm so relaxed. I don't have to worry about anything. But then as soon as I got out of there, I was like, wow, I was actually hypnotized out there. Like I needed to get out of there. I was way too comfortable. I was way out of my routine, and it was just I was pretty much just hypnotized out there. I was under a spell pretty much, but it was one of the most interesting and fun experiences I've had ever, and it probably will be for the rest of my life. And I would love to go back someday, but yeah, it definitely is just a place where I got way too comfortable, way too quick, and I needed to get out of there just to get back to reality. So
yeah, sure. Could you see yourself living internationally, or you think you're
oh yeah,
or USA?
No, as soon as I got there, I definitely just, I bought into it, and I was like, man, I'm all right, let's do this. Let's have fun out here and just, let's experience as much as we can. And I feel like I could do that in a lot of different places too. Prague was really easy to get around, and it was a really easy place to live just because they kind of had everything set up for us. But the city itself was really like traversable. It looked like medieval Disneyland. Every corner had like a castle of some kind or something at the corner, and it was a really beautiful city actually too. So I still miss it. I miss it a lot. Every now and then I wake up like, man, I wish I could just go back for like a weekend or something and just hang out or all that, take a class again or something. But it was a really good experience. But I'm glad that I was able to go and then come back and then kind of have that realization too. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's a great experience. We're glad to have you back here and in Raleigh training and getting your last year in. I think it's going to be super exciting with your brother in the lineup and just the new guys that are on the team. A lot of fresh faces that I think that'll see some time, and just an awesome opportunity for you to finish off your career. I mean, you've had two awesome, or really 3 great trips to NCAAs, capped it off with 2 All-American finishes. I know you want to climb the ladder and finish higher. So it's going to be super exciting. I think the people in Reynolds are going to be knocking down the door to see your celebrations. And
yeah,
it was that's what people always ask me about. Hey, how come you can't out celebrate Kai? I was like, there's nothing I can do to outdo him, man. He's way more cooler than I am. So
just consistency. It's just consistent. You pick the one thing, make it look crazy. People at first are like, dude, what the heck? And then after, eventually they're on board with it. But
well, maybe you could raise the roof a time or two this year.
Yeah, who knows? All right, I don't know. I've got my things. I think that needs to be passed on to someone. Maybe someone different who could take it on for another 5 years.
Yeah,
maybe Dragon can pick that one up.
Dragon has something cool.
Dragon. He's got. We got to brainstorm some ideas for him too. Maybe he's got to find a trademark again. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the year. I like to kind of think this year is like a bonus year. You know, if I never had this year again and my career ended, you know, after it did last, I would have been content and then being able to kind of move in and be able to coach my brother too. But I could get this extra year now, so I think of it a lot as just bonus. So every time I get to step on the mat, you know, it's just going for bonus, and I know, you know, going for that bonus feeling, and, you know, trying to just get that extra, whatever that extra is just going out and getting it and just kind of, you know, making the most of it now every time I get to step out there. So
yeah, well, you said it. Bonus. I'm a big fan of bonus. I love going to bonus. Bonus wrestling for you. Hopefully a lot of bonus points this year. And, you know, thanks for taking the time to join us. Pat did have his other request is that you got to go clean your locker. So, you know, go tidy that thing up.
My locker's clean. I don't have a messy locker. Maybe it might be open, but
maybe to your standards. Maybe to your standards, but not Pat's.
Oh, come on. There's no way I have the messiest locker. There's no way I'm even in the top 10.
No, I think he's just picking on you. But hey, Kai, it's been awesome. It's been awesome having you. Everyone looks forward to watching this year. And yeah, hopefully you don't have a busy load of classes today, and enjoy the rest of the week, and keep the training going strong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. My first one as a co-host. I had a blast. We'll keep the coverage coming. And as always, if anyone has questions or topics they want discussed, reach out to us, leave a comment on the videos, and share as much as you can. All right, we're out.